What is going on, all of you beautiful people? It is Colossal Kiwi here, and I thought I would do a quick video where I just go over everything that you need to know regarding the One Punch mode that's available in Dead Island, the Definitive Edition. Now, I know this is quite late because this edition of the game has been out for quite some time, but I'm still getting questions every now and then about how this works. It seems to be quite confusing for some people, so I just want to clear everything up and also just introduce the game mode to those of whom aren't aware of its existence. So first of all, what is One Punch Mode? Well, I'm sure most of you can guess because the name is pretty straightforward, but I'll go into it in detail anyway just to specifically cover what it does, and well, it essentially allows you to kill any zombie regardless of its level and regardless of your level in one punch or one kick. So if you're using your fists, not actual weapons, but specifically your own fists, it's kind of like you always have a weighted mod applied. You always can easily knock zombies over, you deal extra damage, and you also have a chance to inflict elemental effects such as bleeding damage, electricity damage, and fire damage, but you can't seem to inflict any poison damage using your fists, and you also can't seem to activate the impact mod with your fists, where the enemies go flying off into the distance. However, the impact mod is what the kicks are for. You still can't inflict any poison damage, but when you kick enemies, you always get an impact effect where the zombies go flying away, and if they crash into a wall or any other kind of objects, then their body parts will just splatter everywhere and they will die instantly. Now, this doesn't always result in instant death. Sometimes they'll hit a wall or they just won't hit anything and they'll get back up. It will still do a lot of damage, but it doesn't always necessarily result in one kick or even one punch killing enemies. It can, but sometimes it takes a couple. So just to clear things up, kicking will always result in the impact mod being applied, so the enemies will always go flying off, and when you are kicking, you have no chance of inflicting fire, electricity, or bleeding damage, whereas if you're using your fists, you can do bleeding, electricity, or fire damage, but you can't do the impact mod where they go flying in the distance. One thing that's worth mentioning is that kicking doesn't seem to really work on the larger enemies such as the thugs, so if you go up to them and you try to kick them, it's not going to send them flying away with the impact mod, but punching does still work. So you can still set them on fire, you can still electrocute them, and you can still set in some bleeding damage, but kicking does not, unless of course they're dancing around and they're dead, you know, like the XP comes up and they're just they're dead, but they're not actually dead on the ground yet. You can kick them when they have no health and they will go flying, but like I said, they're already dead, their health is already been drained. Also, you may have noticed by now, but punching is extremely fast in One Punch mode. They increase your punching speed, so you can just constantly flail your arms, and you can get so many punches in a very short amount of time, as opposed to the normal mode where punching is much slower. So that helps out obviously because you can just flail your fists at the speed of light, and you're going to hit something, you're going to set something on fire, or electrocute them or whatever. So make sure you take advantage of that, and also you have unlimited combat stamina when you're in One Punch mode as well. So remember, it's kind of like if you've played Dying Light, which I'm sure most of you have, you've got your combat stamina and you've got your agility stamina. So in One Punch mode, you don't have unlimited agility stamina, which in this case is just sprinting because there's no parkour in this game, but you do have unlimited combat stamina. So by attacking with your fists or kicks or even just, I think, weapons as well, you're not going to drain any stamina, but sprinting still does drain stamina. It's also important to mention that weapons are completely unaffected by One Punch mode, so if you've got a sword or any other kind of weapon that isn't your fists or your kicking, it's not going to be changed in any kind of way. You're not going to have extra elemental effects, you're not going to be able to send them flying away with the impact mod. The One Punch mode only affects your fists and your kicks, so if you're tired of the One Punch gameplay and you don't want to be able to so easily kill everything, then all you have to do is put on some actual weapons, and then it kind of goes back to normal gameplay, unless of course you kick, in which case they're going to go flying away like usual. The last thing that is different from the normal gameplay experience when you're in One Punch mode is that you cannot unlock trophies or challenges, or you can't even progress towards them, even if you're using weapons. Like I said, One Punch mode doesn't affect weapons, but even if you are still using weapons, you can't get kills towards a trophy or a challenge or anything like that. So obviously if you're a trophy hunter, you're not going to want to play in One Punch mode, at least not with your main character where you're going to be completing all the trophies. It's definitely worth trying out at least for 10 minutes to have a bit of fun. So you're definitely, if you're trophy hunting, go on normal mode, and also if you want to complete challenges, once again go on normal mode. It seems challenges don't give you nearly as much experience points as they did in the original edition, so they're kind of not worth bothering with. They used to give you so much XP that they were one of the best ways to level up, but now it's kind of negligible. Now that we know what One Punch mode is and what it does and things like that, how do we actually activate One Punch mode? Well, it's actually pretty simple, but some of you may be disappointed. Now, you have to go to the Create a New Character menu, and yes, you can probably guess already, you can't activate this with an existing character. It's not something you can just switch on and switch off. You have to actually create a new character in One Puch Mode, and that's it. That character will not be able to actually leave One Puch Mode. You can't just switch it off. Either you create a character from the start that is not in One Puch Mode, or you create a character that is in One Puch Mode. There's no in between. And the way you do that is instead of pressing X or A on the character that you want to select, you press square or X, or whatever it is on PC to activate it in One Puch Mode. You can see the legend down there. It says the buttons you have to press. All you do is you press the button that corresponds to One Puch Mode, and instead of starting it in normal mode, you will start it in One Puch Mode. But like I said, it's not something that you can simply choose to activate and deactivate. It's a bit unfortunate, but you really have to make a decision and stick with it with your character. So I recommend, and by all means you don't have to take this recommendation, you feel free to play however you want, but I would recommend if you want to get the real Dead Island experience, you create your main character in normal mode, and then create a side character in One Puch Mode that you just screw around on and have a lot of fun with. And the last thing I want to talk about regarding One Puch Mode, and this is very important, and this may be another disappointing factor to some people, One Puch Mode is limited to single player only. You cannot play co-op, and the way that works is you may be thinking, well, does it just disable One Puch Mode when you join your friends or whatever? No. When you are creating that character in One Puch Mode, you are creating a single player saved game file that cannot be changed to co-op. It can't be changed to public, private, anything. One Puch Mode characters are limited to single player only. So that may be, once again, disappointing to some people. It's kind of disappointing to me. I mean, how awesome would it be if you could play in One Puch Mode with your friends, or even just have a One Puch Mode character that you can still play co-op with your friends with, but it just disables the One Puch Mode when you're playing co-op. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. If you're playing a One Puch Mode character, you can't play with your friends. There's no way that you can, and that's just that. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll be more than happy to answer them, and I hope you have a wonderful day.